Thank you so much, Bruno, for this wonderful introduction. Thank you very much, Inga. I'm very happy that you have curated this wonderful event. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to the second urgency intensive at the Jan van Eyck Academy, albeit this time online. And we have achieved to make a wonderful system. We've had to really get into a new world, a new thinking, how to bridge our workings as an academy and take it online. And hopefully we are succeeding well, and it seems to be. So the urgency intensive was created out of a need to discuss the larger questions relating to art practice and climate change. This annual event, which aims at bringing together these different perspectives that the climate crisis can have on the art and art institutions, such as the Jan van Eyck Academy, but also the other way around. What role and agency can the arts have in relation to climate urgency? It also seeks to scrutinize the climate crisis as a whole and to forge a conversation on the impact and possible solutions for artists and cultural workers, but also for the general public alike. Imperative is the form the urgency intensive takes, which is a combination of a conference, of a workshop, of a conversation. We seek to actively engage with the public and disseminate knowledge relating to the climate crisis and to position art and design and other creative practices within these times of urgency. And this year's event is curated by nonetheless Jan van Eyck Academy's curator and resident liaison Bruna Alves de Almeida, who just introduced us, and curator Inga Latte. And the event has taken the very interesting form of a role-play event inspired by the work of one of our speakers tonight, public philosopher Roman Kinaric, and the work of Professor Tachiyoshi Saijo, the founder of Future Design. Tonight we will be looking at the viability of an intergovernmental panel on arts and climate change, inserting the capabilities of art and culture within the scientific assessment of the IPCC. Therefore, we are truly excited that we have tonight with us two vice chairs of the IPCC here, Dr. Thelma Krug and Dr. Yuba Socona from Brazil and Bamako. It's an absolute honor to have you here. I would also like to welcome and thank all of the distinguished speakers, panelists, participants, the Jan van Eyck team, and the public for their presence and contributions. This event is a joint event, a joint effort of all the people involved, from graphic design to promotion to administration. Everyone has put great effort into making this event a successful event. The urgency intensive is one of the events that springs from the new course that the Jan van Eyck Academy has taken since I took office in October 2018. Every time someone would ask me and congratulate me on my new position, they would ask, what is your vision for the Academy? And one thing that was clear to me, and I have been repeating this over and over again, the only vision I have is that we should align to the IPCC. We should align to the assessment and the policy assessment of 1.5 degrees, as laid out in the summary report for policymakers 1.5 degrees. And I thought that the world as a whole should prepare for measures relating to halving the output, the CO2 output. For me, it is common sense that any organization should follow this assessment and work on policy changes needed towards zero emissions. For others, it might not be. In any case, we need to prepare for the greatest overhaul of our systems that the world has ever had to face. And we should all contribute to achieve this mission. I wrote out my new policy plan for the Jan van Eyck Academy with the IPCC horizon of 2030 in mind. Exceeding the 4-year policy plan term normally covered in policy plans to allow for a radical change. In our vision, it was important that our social purpose and mission would be inseparable, that our vision would be long-term, widely supported and transversely implemented throughout the organization, and that we would use our imaginative and speculative capacities to envision a world we would want to live in, whereby culture would be at the heart of this imagining new world. If it's through culture that we sense the world, then it is imperative we look at culture for its changes. Now, for those who are not familiar with our institute, the Jan van Eyck Academie is an international residency and a post-academy. This means that we do not only offer artist studios, individual trajectories, and mentors to support our residents, but also a view of the world. We have a wide range of labs, ranging from print and publishing to metal, wood, construction, film, video, as well as a new lab for future and ecological materials, and a food lab. Our 3 institutes for nature research, art and education, and art and society connect our 46 residents each year with the outside world. We aim to connect them with research in nature, landscape, food, science, and art, as well as other timely societal issues. See it as an international residency plus. The Jan van Eyck Academie has helped formulate alternative narratives since its founding in 1948. Its focus is to think about the role of the arts and art practice and what art practice is today. And therefore, it is imperative we look at art and design practices, its changing context. For instance, we could look at it conceptually by rethinking how art practice is related to this larger question of urgency. What does the climate crisis mean for the production and showcasing of art and design in a world in which something that was normally relegated to science fiction, the apocalypse, has now become fact? We are now living the apocalypse. Can we still produce and showcase art and design in times of an uncertain and dangerous future? What does that mean for representation, for presentation, and our fictional capabilities? Do we still have a speculative horizon to look at all? Or in practical terms, it means, for instance, can we still travel freely? Can we transport our works? Can we still produce freely? Or can we change our ideas of what production means altogether? Can we detach production from the valuing of production, meaning cutting it loose from the business-as-usual economy of the arts and art market? Or in design terms, can we just stop designing and producing consumer things we don't actually need? Will a basic income democratize the means of production? Can we use our means to better design ourselves and with that, the world? It also has ethical consequences, that countries that produce the least CO2 output are the most affected. These are at the same time the countries that are marked by colonization. There is a system of inequalities inherent to our systems. And this is also true for the system in art and design. Not only do we, international North and the West, control the means of production and therefore also the means of what is aesthetically and ethically viable, we are exacerbating these inequalities towards other human and non-human actors by leaving it business as usual. A just and post-corona, post-crisis world would need to adjust for these inequalities. The corona crisis already has laid this bare. We have stopped traveling altogether. The art market is at its feet. Museum and presentation institutes are closed. The means of production is in crisis mode. We should use the corona crisis as a way to prepare for a better future and allow for future generations a better world to live in. I feel, and this is important to say this, that the corona crisis is at the same time the canary in the coal mine as it is the carrot on a stick. It is on the one hand a prelude to what is coming, and on the other hand we can view the corona crisis as leading our way into another world and another time. I know that this all has grave consequences for everyone, but also for art and design practice, which is dependent on traveling, showcasing an international market access, especially for an international art academy such as the Jan van Eyck Academie. Artists and designers need to produce and present. That is inherent to our practice. It is also our source of living. But my question is not to stop producing, but can we produce and present differently? With the climate crisis in mind. For instance, can we detach production from its economical valuing? Next to mitigation and adaptation strategies within the arts, design, and culture world, art and design practice should lead the way in climate thinking. To be an artist can be a prime example of how to live in a time of mitigation and adaptation to climate change. Are the art of living and the practice of art and design not intrinsically connected? Can we utilize the intrinsic value of art and cultural production as a way forward? Therefore, does it make sense to call for inserting the arts and cultural practice into the assessment of the IPCC? We would say so. Impacts and solutions to climate change are deeply mediated by culture, and a shift towards a post-fossil economy will require cultural changes and an overhaul of thinking strategies that are deeply embedded in today's systems. An integration and strengthening of the social sciences, humanities, and art and design practice next to the natural sciences is imperative for the social and technological change that we need. A human climate response would pay attention to experience, to affect, ethical values, and subjectivity. It would bring to the forefront other knowledge systems and the plurality that we need for a diverse and resilient world. It is these and many more questions, thoughts, and ideas that will be discussed in the coming days in a role-playing event with the contributions of some truly outstanding scholars, curators, artists, and thinkers. Please join us in this undertaking, envisioning another world together, a world that is safe and just for human and non-human actors, for societies and beings and non-beings. Let us envision another kind of art and design practice. Let us celebrate this coming together, this moment of coming together and envisioning a future fit for all of us. I thank you all. I will open now up for the introduction of the vice chairs. Thank you very much.